Smooth on the map, never sleep. What you gonna do when you out? Who you with? You ain't really like that. Don't did, don't do. Really on the road on the map, never slip. Put your hands to your left. Don't did, don't do.
A very good evening, everybody, and welcome along to round 8 of season 28 of the Apex's Tuesdays Championship as we head into Porsche Cup action once again, right off of the sand dunes of the North Sea coast here at Circuit Zandvoort. Hello, everybody. Welcome along to Racing X's. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, and joining me in the booth tonight, once again, as always, my partner in crime and also the man producing behind the scenes, Steve Koenig. This is week 8 out of 12. So, firstly, let's remind you of the calendar that has taken place so far and what is yet still to come. So, here at Circuit Zandvoort, for week 8 of the championship season. And next up on week 9, we head to St. Petersburg on August the 11th. We go to Imola on August the 18th for week 10. Monza, the Temple of Speed, on August the 25th. And September the 1st at the iconic Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Time qualifying currently underway, but let's give you a reminder of the championship scores thus far as it stands. And first of all, we turn our attention to the mid-pack Larrys as things stand. It's Kenneth Ingersoll that leads the way, and it is actually on 112 points, and he is ahead of Sean Teeter that leads, is currently in second position. Ingersoll with 5 wins so far, Teeter with 1. Keegan Gehrig rounds out the top 3 on 94 points, ahead of Kent Kruger, who now rounds out the top 4. Jack Stadola completes the top 5 with Chris Laum, Kenton Bandy, John Monsal, Corey Mitchell, and Tino Renee rounding out the top 10. Then we head over to the Going Pros, and it's 4 wins so far for a certain Mr. Michael Brock, who has taken 4 wins in the Going Pros so far this season. And he leads Mark Miller in the Going Pros side of things on 104 points. Mark Miller yet to secure a victory so far this season. Matt Mosby rounds out the top 3, so just please ignore those graphics on your screen for the moment, folks. Colin Winslow and Derek Tyndall are on 95 and 91 points apiece. And there you see Mosby tied on points with Colin Winslow. Derek Tyndall a further 4 behind. Kevin Zhu, the man from St. Kitts and Nevis, on 87. Spencer Baudois, 78. Ryan Ryder on 60. Brian Zinn, 59. Brian Lemke, 55. Rounding out your overall top 10. But let's give you an introduction to Circuit Zandvoort. First opened back in August of 1948. Partly built using rubble and debris from buildings destroyed in Zandvoort back in World War II. And it is 4.25 kilometres, that's 2.6 miles, 14 corners, 31 feet above sea level. And what we also do have is that there are corner bankings at Hugenholtz and the final corner at a Luijendijk, named after the IndyCar Dutch legend. Feature banking of up to 18 to 19 degrees, steeper than Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the Brickyard. More to the point, funny enough, there's a little bit of an interesting tidbit from history. At the Tarzan corner, Tarzan Bocht is rumoured to be named after a local municipal figure who only agreed to give up his land if the corner was named after his nickname. So, unfortunately, Brendan Fraser, or anybody else that's played Tarzan over the years, you're out of luck there. But it is also the home of the Dutch Grand Prix for its last tenureship this year in 2026. And we are into the final 60 seconds of qualifying. So, good evening, Steve Koenig. Welcome back in, buddy. Can't believe we are now on week 8 out of 12.
It's absolutely fantastic. And I've been listening to the drivers. There is a lot of positivity going around, seeing what they can do, who's going to be able to stand at the top. and ultimately the points coming down to I mean, if we take a look at the best lap times at the moment, 1:33.03 is the quickest, but it's not alone. Brock, Winslow, Miller with all the same time. Tita, Meyer, Zhao, Scholzler, all sitting with the 1:34. So I think we're in for an exciting race on a circuit that is all about rhythm. It's a very difficult track to get past, but if you can force a mistake to happen, you're in for the win, in for the money.
Yeah, very much the case, as Michael Brock, who currently leads the way overall in the championship standings, is also on provisional pole by the best part of 0.5 of a second. Colin Winslow is his closest competitor. Michael Brock put in a storming lap time of 1:33.0 and takes pole for the race. Sean Tita qualifies in P5 overall, as we've got 29 drivers set to go into battle over the next 45 minutes. Let's give you a roundup. Well, that is of the mid-pack Larrys, but it is going to be Michael Brock that's going to start from pole position. Colin Winslow will start on P2. Mark Miller and Kevin Xu will round out row 2. It's then going to be Sean Tita and Joe Mayer. Sean Tita, that is the highest qualifying position for a mid-pack Larry this season, and that is on the inside of row number 3. Matt Schlosser joined by John Monsalve, and the Yellow Submarine rounds out row 4. Stan Hammonds and current mid-pack Larry's leader, Ken Ingersoll, rounds out the top 10. Tony Wallace and Matt Mosby, row 6. Oz Exelu and Spencer Baudoin, row 7. Corey Mitchell and Jesse Mia round out row number 8. After that, it's going to be Kendon Bandy and Keegan Gehrig, with Michael Cummins and Justin Aitchison rounding out the top 20. Dylan Foster and Benson Tai rounding out row 11. Ryan Christoph and Tina Renee, row 12. Kent Kruger and Christopher Laum, row 13, with Conor Menard and Matt Bond rounding out the top 14. And looks like no time set by our good friend and fellow commentator from Maximum Effort Motorsports, the number 29 of Brian Zinn. Could he be doing the top gear from the rear challenge and try and see how far up the order he will go? But 45 minutes, it is a 47% limitation on fuel. 1 pit stop will be required by all the drivers. Open setup, unlimited tyre sets, and 1 fast repair at their disposal. Michael Brock at the moment, Steve, has been absolutely imperious in his title defence. He is the reigning champion from season 27.
It's going to be a great one as we go under green flags, ready to charge off the line, and Michael Brock already a solid defence, aiming to try and keep the grid behind him into turn 1.
Yeah, so good start by Michael Brock. Colin Winslow in P2, Mark Miller, Kevin Xu, Sean Tita round out the top 5 as they now head through Gerlach and into what will be Hugenholtz for the first time. High banking here, and already so many drivers already getting to the high side to carry the speed through as we go through turns 4 here at Hunsrück, up through 5 and up through Rob Slaughtermacher here at 6 before the run down into sector 2, down through Shavelach, the downhill right-hander, very much the Dutch sand dunes equivalent of Paddock Hill Bend. But Michael Brock and Colin Winslow have both bolted like they've both been shot out of a gun. Miller holds on to 3rd. Sean Tita, I have to say, very impressed by that man who took the runner-up spot in the mid-pack Larry's last season behind Zach Peterson. So Sean Tita looking to gain some ground in this latter half of the championship season. After this, we've got 4 more rounds to go. There are 4 drop rounds to consider, and also that additional 7-point bonus for the driver that has the least amount of incidents over the course of all 12 races. But Tita looking very, very racy in the Monster Energy car for 1:17. He's closing in on the man from St. Kitts and Nevis, the man who has decided to dispel the myth of being the Nürburgring King, as he was in the GT4 season last year. But man, oh man, we have got a real firecracker on our hands as they come out of turn 14 at Adi Leyendijk Bocht. And Michael Brock has a lead over Colin Winslow of around 0.4 of a second as it's bumping, undulating on the brakes into Hugenholtz. And then we see Matt Mosby through on the, I have to say, nice livery. Tony Wallace channeling his inner Dr. Pepper Zero there.
I gotta say, for a first lap, looking at my leaderboard, there was no contact during the first lap. This is a circuit synonymous for taking out a few cars. Oh, never mind, I'm just going commentator's curse.
Oh dear,
Keats and
fate of
Brandy.
circumstance there, Steve, and it's going to be Kenton Bandy, as you rightly said, and he's right with the number 4 car, and that's Kenton Bandy making a bit of a misstep, rotates around in front of, I think was that Michael Cummins that he was in front of, it might have been Michael Cummins, or it might have been Ryan Christoph. But a little bit of contact there, but yeah, fate of circumstance. Don't believe in commentator's curse. Those words don't exist in my vocabulary.
Love it. Well, our drivers giving it everything they can at the moment. Joseph Mayer trying to catch up to Sean Teeter, really keeping the pressure on him, but also has got quite a train. Matt Scholzer trying to close up, and John Unslave, second place of the mid-pack Larrys, is finding himself stuck in between the pros and just not able to catch up to Teeter further up the road.
Brock and Winslow, they're bolted away from Mark Miller in the 120 Mobil 1 car, and that gap is now about 2 seconds between first and third position as our leading drivers make their way through into Gerlach once again here at turn 2, and then it's on the brakes and decide how high you're going to go up the apex. Oh dear, Matt Bond has got a mechanical black flag, the 119. Let's have a look at the Racer Lexus replay. Oh, Shark Boy. That's what it kind of reminds me, the character that was... oh no, he's going to have a big problem, because that was the 121, Tino Rene, who lost the car going through out of Kumo at turn 13, and before Addy Leyendijk, Matt Bond had nowhere to go. Bang, straight in he goes, nose end in, has nowhere. He tried going right hand down. Rene's car was dropping down the hill, and bang, both cars end up in the pit lane. They both used their fast repair, so they're going to be quite a way down off of our leaders. And looks like Brian, who has had some sinus issues quite recently, might have decided not to go for it. Matt Schlosser, normally a regular haunt on the special stage stadium trucks. They'll be in action later on this week here on Racer Nexus. Good to see him parlaying a little bit of the dirt tracks. And if he gets on the gravel, well, we know he's going to be a firm hand of trying to keep that car pointed the right way, as he is currently P6 in the Going Pros. Michael Brock really pushing the envelope now, and he's just put in a 34.2. So we got another car round. Who was that? Right, that's going to be Corey Mitchell in the 63 Monster Point Ultra livery. So again, it's another driver, too much grass taken through into turn 13, and he's done exactly the same as Tina Rene, only the nose end is pointing towards the inside barrier.
Another one for Matt Bond. Day just gets worse and worse for him. Recently just come out of the pits after some repair, catches the curb, and unfortunately turns himself around and just looks towards the wall. Unfortunately, the driver deciding to go back to the pits. Had enough of going and slipping and sliding.
Yeah, Christopher Lowndes also struck trouble in the 912 car, as we see Benson Tai, man from Hong Kong, in the number 53. He's up to 18th overall, P8 in the mid-pack Larry's division. He's up 4 spots already, and he's his best lap so far is a 137.2. He's got Dylan Foster right on his gearbox in the 818. As here we go, Joe Mayer to the inside of Matt Schlosser, and this is through at Hans Ernstbach, originally known as the Audi S's. And Schlosser gets his elbows out, but who is that that's dropped it? That is Colin Winslow. Winslow from second whilst battling behind Michael Brock, and it's through, bumping into there. Oh dear, he's rotated through the corner on the loud pedal, on the curbing, and bang, straight into the barriers. Front end an absolute mess, and that is going to give him a black flag, and he's mechanical black flag with that amount of front end damage. Meantime, Joe Mayer has been pipped by John Monsalve, who's up his inside, so that makes it 2 mid-pack Larrys into the top 7. Monsalve gets out of it because he knows that his battle's not with the 2 in front, but with the man that is 3 cars up the road, Sean Teeter, who is now running 4th overall and is 0.2 of a second behind Kevin Zhu for an overall top 3. They now head their way through Slaughtermacher into Shavlach, down the hill, and it's very much the Dutch equivalent of Paddock Hill Bend. You know, downhill, right-hander, blind crest, blind apex, and you've got to nail it perfectly.
The drivers having a fun time out on the circuit. You can see every so often the drivers are trying to go and take as much curb as possible, but it's unsettling the cars. Usually with GT3 racing, you can hit them without too much of a problem, but with these cars, they're a little bit harder sprung. Now they're going and landing up, bouncing around as we see many drivers taking different lines, different approaches. Some a little bit more worrying about going too shallow, others rather going and utilizing every inch of the circuit. Stan Hammonds, getting ahead of Benson Ty, has just allowed Dylan Foster to go and gain a little bit of time as well. So we've got some very, very hard charges in the field. Everyone trying to move up through the order.
Dylan Foster goes slightly off track, and I think really coming back to Tino Rene's faux pas there, should have held his brakes. That is one of the rules that is in every single set of sporting regulations known to iRacing, to any league that is out there. And that's a real shame for Matt Bond, because he was making some good ground. But here we see at the front of the train here, coming into Tarzan, there is Kent Kruger battling away, I think, with Dylan Foster. And they're battling over effectively what is going to be a little bit further back down the order. There's Keegan Gearig, currently P7 at the moment in the class, and he's got Benson Ty. Well, actually, no, that's not Benson Ty. That is going to be Stan Hammonds in the number 55 Sky Lounge Motorsport car, right on his rear wing. And again, this, as you said, it's a very, very much about getting into the flow zone. Jen, don't worry. Mike is in the lead. Will he put it on pole, my dear? And he's also got the fastest lap of the race. Meantime, he has got a big old lead as we ride on board with Stan Hammonds. P10 in the class at the moment. So that'll be, as for those that have just joined us here on Racer Nexus and this is your first time watching Apex this Tuesdays. Red is for Going Pros. White is for Mid-Pack Larry's. Is a little bit further up the order. Christoph versus Cummins, that is the battle for P14 overall, but more importantly, there's P5 in the Mid-Pack Larry's. But I have to say, some great battling here. Mike frickin' overachiever, says Jen, his wife, in the chat. Well played, Jen. Well, he's after win number 5 of the season, but in the meantime, Sean Tita is looking to break Ken Ingersoll's run of 5 wins from 7 appearances so far this season. And Sean has been very much in the fight when it comes to the Mid-Pack Larry's over the last 2 to 3 seasons here. And it's nice to see him having the opportunity to qualify that car really, really well here at ZANDVOORT. But then we go to some tracks that are going to be very, very different heading into the final 4 weeks, because we go straight onto the streets of St. Pete, whereas Matt Schlosser has dropped the ball in the 400 special stage car. So that has put him to P4. Well, it's actually put him P5 in the class, because Joe Mayer in the camo livery, very discreet there. We were having a chat about this just before we went on air, Steve, didn't we? You said that'd be a bit of a difficult livery to spot in the dark.
It's a bit of a pain in the dark racing against one. I prefer brighter colours, just makes it more visible, but it's striking. The camo colours in the day is striking. It's beautiful to look at. Unfortunately, as the night falls, it becomes a little bit of a pain in the backside. But I just noticed something. We've lost Matt. Matt has retired to pit lane after landing into the weeds, got back on track and called it quits.
Oh dear. Right, okay, another new fastest lap. Michael Brock is really starting to put, well, in the words of Spinal Tap, wind the volume up to volume number 11. As here we go, Monsalve to the inside of Mayer. That is 2 Mid-Pack Larry's into the top 5, and Mayer's just spun it coming through out of turn 1 at Tarzan. Hold your brakes there, well played. But he's got to wait now, because Mayer's going to tumble down the order like a pebble thrown in a pond. And that means that Ken Ingersoll now makes it 3 Mid-Pack Larry's, actually 4 Mid-Pack Larry's, because Justin Aitchison now rounds out the top 10. So we are coming up to 33 minutes out of the race completed, so nearly 12 minutes elapsed so far here at Circuit ZANDVOORT. And an interesting little bit of history with regards to myself and my motorsport career. It's actually the first track I visited back in September of 2013, and this is in the good old days of the silhouette races that the DTM had, 4 litre naturally aspirated V8. So you had the BMW M3, not the M4, before BMW decided to call the coupe a 4 Series. Why, I don't know. The Audi RS5 DTM and the Mercedes C-Class DTM, C63 DTM. So you had the likes of Augusto Farfus, Gary Paffett, Bruno Spengler, Mike Rockenfeller, Miguel Molina. And that was the year where Mike Rockenfeller had to just finish second behind Augusto Farfus if Farfus won it, which it did happen. And then I end up witnessing Mike Rockenfeller trying to stick a stogie down Miguel Molina's throat at the Audi hospitality because the dinner tables were being cleared, ready for the dance floor for the celebrations for Rocky getting the title that year. But I was so gutted because I couldn't find a room that night in Zandvoort because Dieter Gas had invited me to the party. And that's something you don't... And he was the head of Alpine Sport at that time, taking over from Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich. And now Dieter, these days, working with Jota Sport with regards to their prototype campaigns. But still, nevertheless, getting back to the racing, Ken Ingersoll is now up into P7. That's P3 in the class. And he's got Oz Exilu closing on in. Keegan Gearig's had a bit of a misstep here behind Kent Kruger and has now lost a big amount of time in the 640 car. He's now P9 in the class, P18 overall. So we're going to have a look at the Racer Nexus replay. He was trying to close in on Stan Hammonds, and and someone's gone up into the barriers off of there, and Keegan Gearig spun it. Who was that went into the wall? Because someone went way too high.
Take a look and see who we can find. Possibly could have been Kevin Zell, who went off track. Quickly take a look. So it was an off-track moment for him.
Yeah, so Kevin Zhu, who is trying to close in on Mark Miller, who is currently P2 at the moment. Now, this is out of turn 13 at Kumo. Goes full-on Joker lap send through the gravel, keeps the throttle pinned, and then gets through Ari Leidijk quite nicely. So not too much of a drama there, but it was definitely, there was someone in front of Keegan Gearig that I saw go very, very high at Hugenholtz at T3. But we now head into part 2 out of part 3 for this 8th round of the season. Oh, moment there for Stan Hammonds. That has allowed Kent Kruger to go through in the Manti Grello colours. Still being used these days in DTM by Thomas Preining, 2023 DTM champion, and also won a title in the B&L karting series back when he was a teenager. So nice to see that colour represented. And more to the point, it is going to be the case of how much do you want to push the limit here at Zandvoort, as Stan Hammonds found the limit. Kruger goes a little bit wide, but manages to cover off Hammonds. And this is for P14 overall. Michael Brock, in the meantime here, Steve, has got a lead of over 3 3/4 seconds in front of Mark Miller. Mark Miller looking for his best result of the season so far, I believe, who's had 1 podium, 3 top 5s so far. So Mark Miller yet to have a win, but he has become Mr. Consistency. Yeah, this would be his best result of the season so far. His best result, funny enough, was back at round 5 when we were at Brands Hatch. He had a really, really good run there, but he did not have a good one the week afterwards, which was at the Glen, and then came back and finished in P4, but managed to get an additional 4 points for no incidents recorded, which was a good thing. So drivers do get an additional point for the fast. Well, they do get an additional point for certain things, but Justin Aitchison really getting onto the back of Spencer Baudouin. This is for P9 overall. Aitchison currently P4 in the class and is 2.3 seconds behind Ken Ingersoll, who continues to hold on to P3. Spencer Baudouin with one of the nicest liveries this season, with the good old light baby blue and the orange Golf colours with the Golf logo emblazoned on both driver and passenger side door. Right behind them, they've got Jesse Mia. Bit of a mistake. Someone kicks up the dirt. Here comes Aitchison with a big lick of speed into Hans Ernst. And Jesse Mia, who we've not really seen at the sharp end. He's not had the best run of luck so far this season in the 172, but he's trying to get through if he can. Might get the run down coming out of Addy Leindijk and heading into Tarzan. But we're not that far away here, Steve. We're about 17.5 minutes in. I don't think it'll be that long before we see some pit stops, maybe in the next 7 to 10 minutes, I would imagine.
I think we're going to see a whole bunch of drivers all pitting at the same time. Usually it's been quite split over the course of the season, but everyone trying to just open up a little bit of room on a circuit that is incredibly difficult. They were going to wait till the tank's drained, and that I do think is going to be the big one for everyone, to just try and save a bit of fuel and see if you can get one lap extra versus the competition. You avoid all the traffic coming into the pits and out of the pits. We do have an accident that's come through. Stan Hammonds running into a bit of a problem, and P9 in class, unfortunately, having a little bit of a moment. Slips the rear out, slides it, nearly holds the drift out onto the marbles, points the wrong way, but he was able to just hold his brakes a little bit. Unfortunately, not for one car getting a solid crash into the nose. So, unfortunately, Stan Hammond's going to be feeling it, and another one of our drivers getting a new nose job.
Yeah, that is not always the best thing to happen, and especially at that point on the circuit to lose it. That would have been at turn number 12, coming out of Hans Ernst. As again, Jesse Mia in the 172, currently P7 in the Going Pro division, currently P11 overall, as we are getting closer and closer to 20 minutes elapsed. As you can see, some of the drivers coming out of turn 13 at Kumo, going through into Addy Leindijk at turn 14. Some are, unfortunately, getting a bit too close for comfort when it comes to the limits of adhesion. And also with that, being on the verge of maybe sending it through the gravel and ending up how things are going. Right, Michael Cummins is the first one to dive in on lap 12 of the race, and that is with 25 minutes to go. That could be a very, very tall stretch. Brian Lemke, not here. I know for a fact that he was making sporadic appearances. Obviously, he's decided to take a little bit of a step back. But I don't at all blame him, really, because even people that have been at the sharp end of this field have definitely decided, you know what, sometimes it's nice to take a little bit of a breather. Like they say, you know, taking a bit of a break, you know, it's like having a bit of a change. It gives you that little bit of respite and fresh air, and when you come back, you're filled with the joys of spring, Steve.
That's it. And just saw one of the cars off into the dirt. That was Spencer Baudouin going and landing up into the dirt, losing out time. And only rejoining now suddenly has Joseph Mayer on the back of him, and Ryan Christoph will be trying to chase down the pack as well. So a problem came in for Spencer, visiting the gravel trap, but also take a look how much gravel is on the apex of turn 12. You've got to be so careful to get yourself back onto the power, otherwise you're going to land up getting turned around. And I wonder, everyone's getting to see who has done their pit stops, who's already gone into the pits to get it done and dusted. It's going to be a concern for a number of drivers, as we do see Spencer going into the pits. Joseph tried following in the slipstream before he had to pull out and then get straight back onto the racing line. So a bit of a look there, and we've got two cars that have gone through the pits by themselves. But I wonder, is it because the tyres are starting to fall off, or are they just trying to figure out how to do an undercut and avoid all the carnage? And it does look like Connor Merrill is running into a few issues. Michael Cummings waiting right behind him, suddenly seeing a car disappear, reappear. Will be taking a deep breath and focusing on the races. Once again, it's another one. Conrad into the pits. Michael Cummings carries on. The pit stops are starting to happen. The questions are starting to be asked. When do you get into the box? And also, how far can you go?
Yeah, I think it's... oh, right, okay. Matt Schlosser has said that his brakes got hung and stuck on. So it turned out he needed a firmware update, which is why he's retired. Justin Aitchison has got a mechanical black flag. So he has hit trouble in the 175. Oh dear, what has happened to him? Just trying to see where the damage is on the vehicle. And it might be the front of the car that has caught the brunt of it, or not. Or, well, I can't really see where the damage is, but yeah, Justin Aitchison has been given the mechanical black flag, so he's got to pit that thing, which he's going to do now. So he'll repair that damage, get the car out, slow down. It's 40 miles an hour is the pit lane speed limit, 64 kph. So let's have a look what happens to Jesse Mia, because he's dropped the ball here. And that is going to be too much rotational mass. Car's going to get a half spin. Oh, that's why. Oh, he spun and right in front of Justin Aitchison. So Justin caught him with the right front corner. And that has meant that, as a result, Justin Aitchison, well, did the right thing. Got out of dodge, 12.97 seconds. Engaged the fast repair, so he still had that one at his disposal. But Corey Mitchell holding on to 12th place ahead of Kent Kruger in the Grello Manti livery. They are currently competing for P6. It's a real shame, Matt. We would have loved to have seen you have a little bit more of your elbows out there, but when that's the thing, when brakes get stuck on and hold, and it's not of your doing, well, and then you find out it's a firmware update. I think the word, as the reels go, technologia is probably the word that I would say right about now. But nevertheless, we still have got a really, really good battle happening here between John Monsalve and Sean Teeter. This is not just for first place in the mid-pack Larrys. It is for actually P4 overall here in the race. We've only had one person in the last couple of seasons from memory that has been close to and over a win, and that was Zach Peterson last season in season 27. But Brock, Miller and Zhu round out the top three in the Going Pros. Teeter, Monsalve and Ingersoll round out the top three in the mid-pack Larrys. So we've got some battling up and down the order. Closest battles at the minute are Teeter versus Monsalve, Tony Wallace in 6th, who's got Kenneth Ingersoll about 3 seconds behind him. But then we got the battle between Kent Kruger and Justin Aitchison. That is the battle for 13th, 14th and 15th overall. Aitchison has come out a little bit further back, but Kent Kruger doing what he can. He's trying to close in on Corey Mitchell, who's 2.3 seconds up the road. Justin Aitchison having his own battle with Spencer Baudoin. So they're half a second apart as we get into the final 20 minutes. So top 6 in Going Pro, oh, it's a pit stop. Top 7 in mid-pack Larrys, also oh, it's a pit stop. I would say that probably within the next 5 minutes we'll find out how the blackjack cards lay on the table after the hand has been dealt.
It's interesting to see everyone leaving it till last minute and knowing that pit lane is going to be busy. You're going to have to slow the cars down to 40 kilometers an hour. As soon as you try get into that pit lane, it's going to have a concertina effect. It's one concern to try and fight out with your competition, but you also got to be careful not to go and speed through the pits or bump someone to cause a speeding in the pits. That can also run into a world of trouble, as we see Mia trying to keep away of Colin Winslow, who's trying to catch up. So Michael Cummings is the driver that's fighting out against Jesse after his mistakes. The Colin Winslow made up some time. He's up into 18th overall and is 9th in class. So Colin Winslow is still on a hard push to try and recover after that dramatic spin he had earlier.
Yeah, I know you said about the speed limit. It's 40 miles an hour, 64 kph. So I think at 40 kilometers an hour, they'd be trundling so slowly down the pit lane. It'd be like waiting for the second coat of paint you put on the wall. You're waiting to hopefully try and get coat number 3 on before the evening's done. But nevertheless, again, Cummings and Mia going into battle. Mia going high through Hugenholtz at turn 3. Oh, Michael Cummings has a little bit of a wobble as the right rear wheel touches the grass. Tony Wallace has had a big moment. Wallace was off track, then has ended up in the pit lane. Not too sure what has happened to the number 78. Oh, it's going to be a meatball flag. So the Dr. Pepper car, that is going to be probably a shadow of its former self, as we're going to see. He goes straight on, bang! Oh, that's a big hit. I don't know what happened there, but that looked like the brakes did not want to engage, or he missed his braking point completely.
Yeah, unfortunately using the brick wall to slow himself down and into the pit lane from quite a high position. Unfortunately, he's dropped down, and there seems to be a little bit of who can go the longest. So the active nutrition coming into play of, can you get these cars across the line? What do you need to do? And, well, hoping Lady Luck is in the same box as you see Corey Mitchell and Benson Ty fighting it out, nose to tail, doing everything it can. Benson going and trying his luck. He was one of the cars that got clipped earlier on, with the dog saying, this is fine. Well, I hope he's going to be listening to those exact words. This is fine. Just keep going. I'm lying 6th in class, 11th overall. It's still a positive. Corey's not pulling away just as yet.
Yeah, still plenty of time left in this race to go. We've got a long way to go, but a short time to get there. Michael Brock has a big lead of nearly 7.8 seconds over Mark Miller. Kevin Zhu rounds out the top 3 overall, and rounding out the top 5, it is Sean Teeter leading the mid-pack Larrys, and he's got John Monsalve in the 505 Yellow Submarine. There they both are, 1.1 seconds adrift. Ken Ingersoll rounds out the top 6. 7th is Oz Exelu, who is closing in. That is the 911's best results as far as I am aware so far this season. And P7 is effectively 13 points, and the highest the amount of points that he has scored so far this season is a 9th plate, P4 in class. If he's P4 in class, that's 16 points. His best result so far this season has been at round 4 at Road Atlanta, where he actually placed 9th. So this could be his best result of the series so far. 16 minutes to go here, Steve. I'm not going to put you... Well, I'm going to slightly put you on the spot here. Out of Miller, Zhu and Brock, who do you think is going to come out on top when we do the pit stops?
Looking based on time, I think Michael Brock is making enough headway to move forward and remain in that top spot. While Sean Teeter constantly in a fight is going to be losing a bit of time. Kevin Zhao, unfortunately, too far back. So I think Michael Brock has an opportunity here to walk away with the win. But it's going to be a difficult call for our mid-pack Larrys, because Sean Teeter, John Monsalve, they're fighting it out. And that's just allowing this man here, Kenneth Ingersoll, to come in a little bit closer. Who do you think's going to be able to get it from Michael Brock, who's just gone into the pits you're talking about?
I think it's got to be a case of, depending on whether Mark Miller and Kevin Zhu are going to go on for another lap. Mark Miller is going to go on for another lap. Kevin Zhu goes to cover off. So I think this could be tight. It just depends on what happens now, because the 2 leaders for mid-pack Larrys are coming in. So Teeter and Monsal have an opportunity to get themselves both into the top 3. Oz Exelu's going to go on. I think Michael Brock has just come out after 11.55 seconds. So I think once the pit stops are done, Kevin Zhu out after 11.83. If Mark Miller can do a sub 10-second pit stop stationary on his marks, then I think he's got every opportunity to slot himself back in between Brock and Zhu. Joe Mayer is now in the pits and has just lit up the 11s in the pit lane. So I think Mark Miller and Oz Exelu, I would say, are probably going to be in this time by, if they haven't already. If not, they could be very close on fuel. Kent Kruger is in, Benson Ty is in, Ryan Christoph. Oh, and there's Michael Cummings coming to a complete stop there at Tarzan at turn 1. It's all dependent on, and that was Jesse Meir. Jesse Meir, who went straight off at Tarzan, and that was why there was a big kick up of dust. But I don't think Mark Miller's going to have enough to stay ahead of Michael Brock, because the gap between them is about 19.5 seconds. It's a little bit of a deceptive pit lane here at Zandvoort. You know, you come in, as we're going to ride on board with Michael Cummings. This is going to be the replay of what happens as Mark Miller comes into pit lane. There's going to be a touch, and Jesse Meir is around. I don't think that move was on there, Michael. Somewhat. He was a bit too late. Did the old Danny Rick lick the stamp and send it? But Mark Miller is now on his marks. Will he get out in front of Kevin Zhu? It's going to be close, but I think he might have done enough. 11.6 seconds, Oz Exelu. Can he get ahead of Kevin Zhu? Well, that's not going to be the case. So Miller is out, but I kind of had a feeling that with the big advantage that Michael Brock had, it was going to be a fait accompli, and he has done exactly what he needed to do. With 12.5 minutes to go, Michael Brock now has nearly a 10-second lead over Mark Miller. John Monsalva's lost a bit more time. He's 2.1 seconds behind Sean Teeter, but we're going to see two new drivers at the top 2 steps of the mid-pack Larry's podium. Stan Hammonds now closing in on the 53. Hong Kong's Benson Tai. Benson coming from the same locality as current Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany driver Dylan Yip. And, well, good move there by Stan Hammonds. Benson Tai gives him racing room through at Tarzan. And knows that his fight is not with the 55. They're in 2 completely different classes. And Stan Hammonds currently P8 in the class. Same with Benson Tai, who is P9 in the mid-pack Larry's. So hopefully for the man from Hong Kong, that should be a fairly decent result for him. He's not been with us all the way through season 28. But nevertheless, we have seen some great battling so far this season. So unfortunately, we have got 3 retirees, 1 non-starter. Brian Zinn not taking to the start, having not set a lap time in qualifying. Matt Schlosser, after a firmware update was required because his brakes stuck on and held. Lap 6, Jesse Mia, looks like he's parked it on lap 19. And Matt Bond as well. Benson Tai has just had a big old moment. And wait. There's going to be another faster car approaching him, but that was a big Code Brown clean up on aisle 3. And a mop required to clean up the mess behind Benson Tai that he left behind. Keegan Gehrig and Stan Hammonds, once again, they are like 2 magnetic opposite forces, aren't they? Opposites attract here, Steve.
Absolutely, and they've been brawling for quite a bit. Followed each other through pit lane, now following each other out on circuits as Collins Winslow dives into the pit lane. But these two are also taking very different lines. You'll take a look at Keegan Gehrig. He's more than happy to keep it nice and shallow through the corners, while Stan Hammonds will take the height. As it goes into turn 1, Hammonds managing just to get the pass, forcing Gehrig to take a wider line, and now needs to go on a solid defense. This is where we start to see the drivers experimenting to find some place because they're running out of time. I mean, take a look at how high Stan Hammonds takes the corner, utilizing all the banking to try and give him a bit of a sweep down, and also that extra 1 or 2 kilometers that you can pull out just by utilizing a bit of gravity to open up the gap. If you go too far, it's an incident point, but you can go and utilize that little bit of height just to help you out.
Yep, we're into the final 10 minutes of this race, and the lead gap, all I can say is Michael Brock is absolutely flying. He's nearly 12 seconds up the road from Mark Miller. Kevin Zhu rounding out the top 3. Then looking at the bottom part of the top 5, it's P7 at the moment for Oz Exelu, and the 000 of Joe Mayer that ran out the top 5 in that class at the moment is Sean Teeter in the 117 car that holds on at this moment in time to P4. He's ahead of fellow mid-pack Larry's driver John Monsalve is 1 3/4 seconds behind. Ken Ingersoll, well, his run of luck in terms of victories so far this season in the mid-pack Larry's, it's not going to be 6 wins out of 8 appearances, but he's going to pick up a P3, so he will have not finished outside of the top 3 all season long so far. Justin Aitchison in the 175 rounds out the top 4 in the division, P9 overall, and rounding out the top 11 overall. Good work here by Michael Cummins in the number 22. He's up 8 spots from where he qualified. So good work by him. His last lap of 1:34.992. Christopher Laum has just had to come in the 912 car for his second pit stop. Now, bearing in mind, he was in the pits quite a lot earlier. And Christopher Laum not having a great one in the mid-pack Larry's division. He's currently P11 at the moment, P20 overall, and is going to be hemorrhaging time. But still, we have 8 1/4 minutes to go. And bearing in mind that Michael Brock has just crossed the line to complete lap number 23. And here's going to be a moment through Hans Ernst Both through the gravel. John Monsalve, oh, bit of over rotation, and has to go correcting the mistake that was just made, and that has promoted Ken Ingersoll up to P2 in the class and P4 overall. Kenton Bandy has gone off the track. Chris Laum has got a black flag, so that could be potentially for speeding in pit lane as Kenton Bandy. And this is through at Hugenholtz to the inside, clatters into the side of Christopher Laum. So Christopher Laum picks up damage, but also because that being an incident point, that will put him over the limit and that will put him through for a drive-through penalty. And he is going to unfortunately have to serve that. But we are just under 7 minutes and 20 to go. And when you consider the fact that with regards to the laps, I think we've probably got another 4 to go. Not including this one, so 5 including this one still to go. Michael Brock, absolutely spectacular in his strategy and has led from pole position. He's got the fastest lap of the race. He just needs to bring the car home. He can rest a little bit easier now that he's got a 13-second window of advantage over Mark Miller, who's looking for his best result this season. P2 at the minute. Kevin Zhu rounding out the top 3. 6 minutes and 43 to go. Christopher Laum comes in for his 3rd trip down pit lane. This time, unfortunately, for the 912, it is going to be a 64 kph trundle in first gear on the limiter, and then coming out of coming out of Tarzan, it is going to be the case that he will then have to worry about what happens now.
One of our epic battles happening out. John Moonslave trying to keep ahead of Oz Ixlu, and take a look who's come right out in front of him after serving his drive-through penalty. Slots into it, and Joseph Mir will be hoping to clear on pass quite quickly. He takes a dive down the inside, and it's a clean pass on the way through. Good racing out there, but the drivers having to figure out what they can do. Tino Rene, after running into a few problems during the course of the race, still in the fight against Con Menirod. And right with them, we've got Dylan Foster trying to go and find out against Keaton Brandy, which is turning into a bit of a fun one. Some drivers not completely out of the running as yet, but are looking for every opportunity. Even though your lap's down, you've got to make it count.
Yeah, and this is the point where it needs to count the most, because we go into the final 4 races of this season. The final third is a moment there for Matt Mosby, who we really haven't seen much of so far today, and it's really because of the fact that when we saw the battling earlier on this season where he took 2 wins ahead of Michael Brock and the first 3 races, we knew that there was going to be a challenger. But sometimes over the course of a season, you see that sometimes the challengers that come into the fray don't always have the best run of luck, and Matt Mosby is definitely one of them.
Oh, got yellow flags for Keaton Brandy once again. Luck not on his side. Just coming out of pit lane. Tyres will be a little bit on the chillier side, and I think maybe just clipped the curbing a little too much too early on the power. Gets a little bit of a spin. But a near miss yet again. And, not to count it out, Connor Mignard going and running into his own problems out on the opposite side of the circuit. And I do think once he goes in, kicks the rear out, hard impact into the wall, and that's most certainly going to be felt during the course of this race.
Yeah, that is not how you want to have the latter part of your race be facilitated, as here we go. Colin Winslow versus Benson Tai. This is a battle for position. Been a bit of a recovery drive here for Colin Winslow. And it's going to be probably a score that he's going to put down as one of his 4 drop ones, as we've got 3 minutes and 48 to go. About to complete very shortly lap 26. And, well, Jen, Mike Brock's wife, says, apparently must be all that Baja Blast. Yep. Yeah. Oh, Matt Mosby's got a black flag, so that is going to be a pit lane trundle, I'm afraid, for the man in that car. Real shame for Matt Mosby. Qualifying did not go quite his way. He's down 9 places, started P12, and it's just gone from bad to worse. Tony Wallace In the mire again is the number 78 Dr. Pepper car. Oh dear, this is not going to be an easy one, and there's a little bit of a a tender lovey, a little bit of a kiss and a cuddle with the barriers there coming out of, I think that would have been turn 10. So yeah, Tony Wallace having a little bit too much over rotational mass, and with these rear-wheel drive, rear-engined 902.2 Cup cars producing 520 brake horsepower, you get on the gas a little bit too early. It's going to spin you around quicker than Kylie Minogue on the dance floor. But with 2 minutes and 38 to go, we are going to be, I think, more than likely next time by, depending on how quickly Michael Brock crosses the line. I think we're going to have this and 2 more to go. As John Monsalve now battling away for P6 with Joe Mayer in the 000 camo livery. They are about 3.4 seconds up the road from Oz Exelu, who's done a really good job. This is going to be Oz's best result of the season, a P5 for him, which will give him 15 points. And he's had a pretty clean race, let's be truthful. But with 2 minutes to go, 2 laps remaining, so that is going to be 5.2 miles of racing. And this man here, that Mountain Dew, definitely looks to have quenched his hydration and given him a little bit of a pep in his step, because he has been absolutely unassailable here tonight.
And also putting in the fastest lap time of a 1:33.5 in the dying seconds of this race is really showing that he can keep his foot firmly in it. Joseph trying to keep the pressure on John Monsalve, who does not want to go and lose out the fight, because Kenneth Ingersoll is within arm's reach. He's just got to try and find that little bit of time to really fight through. But when you've got cars that are fighting for position and cars that are, well, laps behind, it does make life a bit interesting, because now Kenneth has got a little bit of room to deal with, and John has to clear past a back marker before he can even touch him. Just for that second place, it's frustrating. It's right there. It's within arm's reach, but where can you find the time?
Yeah, that's the thing about Zandvoort. You've got to find air, you've got to claw and grab and kick and steal for every single opportunity that you can have to gain that time back. But it's never going to be easy. But, however, we go on to the white flag lap here with Michael Brock. What a run this man has had on course for his 5th race win of the season so far. Bearing in mind, this will be a three-peat for him as well, as he makes his way in towards Hugenholtz for the 29th and final time. Sweeps the 421 high to the wall and carries the momentum through. And in the meantime, John Monsalve has closed up to Ken Ingersoll, so we've got a real big battle here. Look at this, they've got some back marker traffic to contend with as well. Monsalve in the tow, to the inside he goes. And that is going to be the 912 of Christopher Laum that he's just gotten through on. But he's got Ingersoll right in his crosshairs. They've got Conor Menard right in front of them. And Menard is not getting out of the way. This is going to hamper Ingersoll, I fear, because look at the run here. John Monsalve to the outside, coming out of Hugenholtz at turn 3. Perfect opportunistic, and he's got through. He was like the R-rated superstar, Adam Copeland, formerly Edge of the WWE. And Monsalve, that was one of the best, if not the best manoeuvre I have seen all season long. John Monsalve, take a bow, because I think that's got him P2 in the bag. But in the meantime, we are corners away. Michael Brock has led every single lap of this race from pole position, fastest lap. It is win number 5. It is 3 in a row for the defending Going Pro champion here at Circuit Zandvoort. He wins by a country mile and picking up his best result of the season. It's a little bit of sunshine here on the North Sea coast. Mark Miller in the Mobil 1, 120, will come across the line, finish P2, and half a second behind him, the man from St Kitts and Nevis, Kevin Zhu, rounds out the top 3. Now we've got a short wait. Sean Teeter picks up his first win of the season in the 117 Monster Energy livery, and he is going to beat the Yellow Submarine. John Monsalve with the best manoeuvre of the night and of the season so far. Coming out of Hugenholtz, John Monsalve takes P2. Ken Ingersoll's run of 5 straight wins out of 7 appearances ends up with a P3 on appearance number 8. Oh my goodness me. Michael Cummings rounds out the top 4 in the class in P11. Justin Aitchison rounds out the top 3 in the mid-pack Larrys. But my, oh my, what a race it has been here at the Netherlands. I cannot believe it. Matt Mosby, he's going to be thinking what could have been, as he's not had the best run of luck. Ends up P10 in the class, P22 overall behind Tina Renee and Conor Menard. But you have to factor into this. Michael Brock has been the man of the moment. Once again, a race winner here in Apex this Tuesday's Porsche Cup Season 28 at the Netherlands. He has been imperious. No, actually, he has absolutely dominated tonight. You can't say more than that, Steve.
No, not at all. It was a dominating effort. Got away clean, ran from the grid. And so far, going and showing why he does stand at the top spot. The question is, who's going to be able to derail him from the race? Because, man, oh man, he's on a hard charge. With that being said, let's take a look at our results and see how everyone finished as a provisional.
Yeah, so now that the dust has settled here at the Netherlands, let's take a look at the going pro. Well, this is the mid-pack Larry side of things. Sean Teeter takes his first win of the season by 8 seconds ahead of John Monsalve, with the best move of the season so far, ahead of Ken Ingersoll, who continues to lead the way, leaving the North Sea coast. Justin Aitchison, Michael Cummings, Ryan Christoph, Corey Mitchell, Keegan Geary, Kent Kruger and Benson Ty round out the top 10. Tina Renee, Conor Menard, Christopher Laum, Dylan Foster, Kenton Bandy, and unfortunately Matt Bond retiring on lap number 2. Going pros, it's 5 wins so far this season out of 8 races, but it's 3 in a row for Michael Brock. Mark Miller takes P2, 17.7 seconds behind his best result of the season. Kevin Shue rounds out the top 3, ahead of Oz Exelu, Spencer Baudoir, Stan Hammonds, Colin Winslow, Tony Wallace, Matt Mosby. Jesse Meir retired on lap 19. Matt Schlosser with a firmware issue affecting his brakes, retiring on lap 6. And unfortunately, our colleague, our comrade in arms here in commentary at Racer Nexus, Brian Zinn, a normal regular fixture on the track here at Racer Nexus on a Tuesday night for Apex this, did not take the start, did not set a lap time in qualifying. But it is time for the Apex Sim Racing post-race interview show. Let's bring the man of the moment. He's absolutely dominated. It's 5 wins so far out of 8 rounds, and it is 3 in a row. Mike Brock, good evening. Congratulations once again.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah. Hell of a race, huh? Jeez, I wasn't really expecting that. Yeah, something happened to Colin. He was like on my back bumper for the first, good handful of laps, and then all of a sudden, so something that happened, like it must have been some rain between qualifying and the race, because there was some sneaky little puddles in some of the corners that were in pretty shitty spots. So I imagine that definitely took some people by surprise in a bad way.
But still, that's 5 wins. That is now win 3. So you have won at Watkins Glen, Sebring, and now you add the Netherlands to your tally. Mate, I mean, the run of form, you just got it dialed in. You're in the sweet spot right now, aren't you?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I mean, until someone faster like DJ or someone else shows up, but I'll take it while I can. It's hard to beat this type of track. I absolutely love. There's just like literally no break. You have maybe like a 3-4 second break on that straightaway, but the rest of it is just like turn after turn after turn after turn. So I think those long tracks, I kind of like, you have too much to think about, and I kind of get distracted. So ones like this, I think I do well.
Well, Mike, listen, it's a short one tonight, but congratulations. We'll see you at St. Pete next week. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out as always?
Yeah, so like my wife, best friend Jen, as always. My kids, Jason, Andrew, Bailey, and then I'm gonna give a special shout out to the Baja crew. I just did my first Lemons race with this group that has a Baja. They have a Subaru Baja, and their theme is Baja Blast. So that's kind of like what I took my theme from. So, but yeah, shout out to them as well.
Brilliant. Mike, good to chat with you as always, buddy. We'll see you next week on the streets of St. Pete for week 9, and congratulations.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Have a night.
Right, okay, next up, let's bring in a man who's just secured his best result of the season. It's P2 for the 120 Mobil 1 entry, Mark Miller. Welcome in.
Thank you.
Finally, you've got there. You're getting closer and closer. All you need now is to hit that top step, buddy.
Yeah, well, where were all the fast guys tonight? So that helped me out for sure. But yeah, I mean, I was happy with the race. I'm never really pleased with my race pace. It's never what it is in practice. These guys are slower in practice, and then they step it up in the race, and I'm kind of the opposite. So I still got a lot of work to do. But hey, I'll take it when I can get it. So yeah, good times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you sort of like think, oh, hang on, are they doing like the IMSA side of things at the Rolex 24? Are they sandbagging or anything? But nevertheless,
Yeah.
it was close between you and Kevin. He was the one that gave you the most run for your money tonight.
Yeah, I felt like he was like backing off, like I'm going to save my tires, pit stop. I'm going to be good to go. I'll run him down in the second half, which is exactly what happened. It's a good thing that race wasn't one lap longer for sure. So I tend to abuse my tires probably a little too much. So yeah, tough at the end.
Yeah, you can do that with all that camber here. But we hit the streets of St. Pete, Mark, next week. Should be a good one, buddy. It should be a cracker because St. Pete is always tricky.
Yeah, I really I love St. Pete. I love courses like that. But obviously a lot of danger comes with that. So yeah, just making it through the race is a win on a course like that. But hopefully it's a good time.
Brilliant. Well, Mark, congratulations on your best result, P2 here at ZANDVOORT. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to in particular?
Oh, as always, thank you to the league. Thanks to Racer Nexus for all the awesome broadcasts.
Appreciate it, Mark. We'll see you next week at St. Pete. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Right, okay, so from the Going Pros, we go to Mid-Pack Larry's. And finally, Sean Teeter, you are a Season 28 race winner. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hell of a qualifying effort. What have you been? Have you been eating your ready brek this morning?
I definitely had a steak right before practice, and I didn't practice for very long, and apparently that was the key to a good qualifying.
Well, definitely. But I think also we did see some good battles between you and John before the pit stop phase, and then you managed to get away and scarper off into the distance. It's quite a different thing when you've qualified so high. You qualified P5, you end up P4 overall. Pretty much, as I said, your best result of the season. You finally get a win on the board, and that will hopefully help you close up to Ken in terms of the points coming out of this round heading into St. Pete next week.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah, I qualified pretty well, and I was like out for a Sunday drive, and I was getting a little hung up by Kevin, and I'm like, it's okay, I'm not going to push him. He's like, he's in P3, I don't want to cost him anything. The next thing I know, John's 2 seconds behind me. I'm like, crap, I gotta get on it. So I think he had some bad luck somewhere, but yeah, I got a little lucky.
Actually, I need to correct myself. You are now a 2-time race winner because you actually won at Brands Hatch. I forgot that one. But
Yeah.
Still, two wins on the board. It closes the gap, but St. Pete's going to be a very tricky challenge next week.
I had a lot of fun at St. Pete's last season. I had bad luck, but I had a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Sean, congratulations on your second W of the season. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to in particular?
Just Michael for sharing his setup. Michael Brock, just being the hero of us all. So thank you.
Brilliant, Sean. We'll see you next week on the streets of St. Pete. Congratulations.
Thanks. Bye.
And the last man to interview in our Apex Sim Racing post-race interview show, the man who I think has just pulled off the season's best manoeuvre, John Monsalve. You had some big cojones putting it around the outside at turn 3 at Hugenholtz, and you made it work going through into 6. I have to say, chapeau, first of all.
Thank you. And I got to admit, I missed all of that because I was putting on my AirPods. But that's
okay.
right.
Well, All I'm going to say is you have, I think, out of everybody on this grid, you have just pulled off with the biggest set of cojones, the most boldest, beautifulest move of the season, round the outside of Ken Ingersoll coming out of Hugenholtz at turn 3, 2 wheels on the grass, and you still kept the throttle pinned. How did you pull that one off? Because you were 2 wheels on the grass before you actually completed the maneuver altogether.
I just felt I had a lot of grip right there. I could just feel it in the steering wheels, and I just felt like I had a lot of grip. That's really it. I just knew it was going to work.
And what that also means, that is actually your season's best result, because you've had a P3, you haven't hit the second or the first step of the podium, so there's still one more step to get to this season, because there's still 4 more rounds to go. But that must bring you a hell of a lot of confidence, having such a great race. And obviously, when we saw, I think it was car 244, Conor Menard was in Ken's way, and you thought, right, now's my chance, and you just pull off a blinder of a move. But that's got to bring you a little bit of confidence, considering, you haven't been with us for all the rounds of this season, but it's still giving you an opportunity to, I think the only one you've missed so far is Daytona. And, you've had a couple of scores where it's only been single digits. This must give you a little bit of confidence going into the final third of the championship year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if I could be honest, it was, it really came down to just practicing a few days before. And, usually what I do is I just get on and pretend I'm being flown to wherever this event is, and, just driving the car. But it really shows off that if you just practice a little bit before the event, you can definitely obviously be consistent and potentially even podium. So, yeah.
Well, I have given your car a nickname, the Yellow Submarine. So I think you're going to have to put the Beatles on both side door panels before we go racing at St. Pete to make sure the nickname sticks. But congratulations, John, on your best finish so far this season. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank in particular, buddy?
No, I mean, not. I can't really think of anyone, honestly. I mean, just Kent for putting this league together. It's always a lot of fun, and I do this to really, perform better at the track. So in reality, this is why I do it.
Brilliant. Well, John, congratulations on your P2. We'll see you next week on the streets of St. Pete for week 9.
Awesome. I'll take care.
And that wraps up our Apex Sim Racing post-race interview show. Steve, really good to hear from our top 2 drivers in both respective classes. And what a race it was here at the Netherlands, because it's going to be a bit of a tall order with those close confined concrete barriers at the streets of St. Pete next week for week 9.
It's going to be an incredible and definitely not to be missed out. So I've got to say, drivers are really putting it to the limit at the moment, and we've seen few mistakes that land up with critical loss of points. And with the 4 drop rounds, you really want to go and start utilizing them right at the bottom of the entire calendar. I think we're going to have to keep an interesting one. And Michael Brock is now making that target bigger and bigger on his back for whoever will be able to go and usurp him and take the lead.
Yeah, well, that rounds up our live coverage of Week 8 of the Season 28 of Apex this Porsche Cup here at ZANDVOORT. Coming up, right at the moment, Pony Express GT3 Endurance is happening, along with Freedom Motorsport Alliance GT3. That was this past Monday. Throttle Freaks GT3 is currently underway at Hockenheim. ASRL Indy NAX Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Free FMA WEC, 9:30 p.m. Eastern this coming Thursday. We'll also have at 9 p.m. Eastern the next round of the HPR IMSA series. Then we'll have a special stage Pro Trucks 9 p.m. Eastern Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern Breaking Bad Pushing Limits. Then we'll have Freedom Motorsport Gen 4 9 p.m. Eastern Sunday, along with Apex this Mazda Cup. They'll be heading back here to ZANDVOORT in those plucky Miatas. And then we'll have High Point Racing GT World Challenge next up at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. A big thank you to everyone that has been watching from home. This stream has been powered by Apex Sim Racing, TrackCams22.com, TrackCams for Gourmets, Apex This, and Racer Nexus. Alongside me in the booth and also our producer behind the scenes, big thank you to Steve Koenig. My name is Alex Goldschmidt. The sand dunes now settle here in the Netherlands, but it is the concrete barriers and the close quarter battling that is a hallmark of the streets of St. Petersburg in the United States. We will see you same place, same time next week as the race to become champion here in season 28 continues. Until then, good night.